Welcome to WACSUN Weekly. WACSUN Weekly is the official Western Athletic and ASUN Conference podcast of FCS Fans Nation. WACSUN Weekly is hosted by Dustin Helton, Brandon Owens, and Will Siley. Welcome back, FCS Fans Nation, to another episode of WACSUN Weekly. I am not used to not being in the middle. That is different. Threw me off a little bit. What also threw me off is having to freaking put Roy Kidd Stadium as the background. That made me sick to my stomach because it means they did something good this week, which means UCA did not. But it is what it is. How are you two gentlemen doing tonight?
I'm good. It's a long week, but a good week, and glad to be here. Glad, looking forward to next weekend as well. Lots of good games on the schedule, so we can get through this past week quick for your sake, Will, and go on to the next one.
Please.
So, as y'all can tell in the group chat, you can probably tell how I'm doing.
Hey man, I gave
I'm
you
so
a
done with
monetary
grad
offer.
school. I'm just so done.
Hey man, I understand. School is a grind.
You and I both are in grad school, so you should know how I feel.
This time of year for any school, grad or undergrad, is just tough.
I don't want to do anything. I want to prepare for finals.
Yeah, I feel that. But hey, it was a pretty good week of football if you're just a general conference fan, a general WACSUN fan. If you were a UCA fan, it sucked. But it is what it is. Just running through some results here. Kennesaw surprisingly knocks off UT Martin in Martin 44-27. EKU beat UCA 42-14. Austin P squeaked out a close one to North Alabama.
How
38.
many more games like this is UNA gonna have?
I don't know. They're the Nebraska of the FCS. If you're not an FCS fan, and for whatever reason you're watching this podcast, just know that North Alabama is the Nebraska of FCS. Once a storied program, has fallen significantly, and now is what?
They just transitioned to D1. How are they falling? They've improved. Like, give them
They have not improved.
Give them a little bit of a chance at D1. I mean, look how they're playing this year. I think this is their first year not transitioning. Like, we got one more here.
Yeah, they're
come
full
on.
D1 members.
I mean, let's just be honest. That's just a little bit harsh. And I'm defending a team I don't really like. So just let's tone that down. Let's not say. I mean, I can see you're saying to Nebraska. Yes, they were the cream of the crop in D2. Hey, you know what? Frost needs a gig. Maybe he goes to Florence, but don't insult them. Give them a little bit of respect. Just a little bit of respect.
I'm giving them a lot of respect, but if you ask them, they will tell. I mean, I guarantee you, their fans would say we are a program that once was mighty, and the mighty has fallen.
A lot of them want to go back to Division 2.
Yeah, they're a bunch of morons. And you know what? I hope you're listening. If you're listening and you're like, I want to go back to D2, I want to do. No, you don't. You really don't.
There's UCA fans that way.
I called out a fan this morning. I said, just trust the process. You seriously want to give up what little revenue you're getting right now?
Yeah.
To go back and win games for something that matters, but you're not getting anything out of it?
Yeah. Listen, any UNA fans that are listening to this or watching this and think you should go back to D2, you see the Twitter handle right here. You can come at me on Twitter. I will tell you why you're a moron for thinking that. You can find out these hands are ready to eat for everyone. I will go after you.
Hey, there's a link in the description to all of our Twitter accounts. You don't even have to go to Twitter. You can just copy and paste that.
That's right. Bring it, because I will show you why you're wrong.
Just be prepared, UNA fans, because if you attack one of us, you attack all of us.
Jeez. Yeah, that was they are like Nebraska in the fact that they've got to be the best team to like lose all of their games by an average of anywhere from 3 to 7 points.
Yep.
That's tough.
Yep.
UNA technically, we'll get into it. I'll let you continue. We'll get into it.
All right. Abilene knocked off Tarleton in a pivotal game for them. That was huge, 28-23. They are getting closer and closer to that AQ bid. And then Utah Tech wins there used to be a name for it. I saw it on Twitter. Somebody posted it. Shoot, I can't remember. But they beat Southern Utah 48-36. So impressive. Maybe they're starting to get something rolling. That offense looks better and better. I think they playing against some elite defenses really helped them out. But all right, let's I want to talk about UCA before we get any further. Just so
Do you really?
I don't, but I know that I have to.
I'm sorry.
I don't want to, but I know that I have to, and I'd rather just get it done.
Just rip the Band-Aid off.
Bears went to Richmond, came out, and when I tell you from the first snap, we looked bad. We looked bad from the first snap. It was rough. Everything from mesh points for quarterback, running back, like a handoff. I mean, there were, I think, 2 fumbles on handoffs, which I know Hale didn't play. Darius didn't play. His hammy was bothering him. But it wasn't like we were playing running backs that have never played. Like they're all guys that have been around and have played a little bit. So it was just weird. There was a bug in the air or something that just didn't play well. Will McElvain threw 2 picks. He hadn't thrown an interception in several weeks, so that was a little disappointing. One bright spot, Clifton McDowell, backup quarterback, came in. He came in against North Alabama a couple weeks ago and had some good runs, and I think they thought they could maybe implement that into the general offense, and they did, and he did really well. He had a touchdown run in the first half, and then he actually had our only touchdown pass late in the game. So bright spot, Clifton McDowell. But I don't know. They took care of us. We only had 320 yards of offense. Still had 170 on the ground, but it felt like the game went by really quick, and we just never did anything good. It was one that it wasn't like a big letdown at the end of the game. It was just we got our butts kicked. So
is it going to be the Will McElvain show next week or the Clifton McDowell show?
No, it's Will's team. They didn't pull him because of the interceptions. They pulled him when it was 42-7 with 15 minutes to go. So, no, it'll be the Will McElvain show. It's still his team now. I think you'll see kind of like what you saw at the beginning of the EKU game. You'll see maybe Cliff come in and little 2-quarterback system, run quarterback power. And now I think they know hey, he can throw the ball a little bit. So if we need to bring him in, if we need to bring him in and he needs to make a read and throw the football, he can. So you might get to see both of them next week, but it's Will's team. So he's still a dude. But I don't know. Parker McKinney, he played well. Seemed like he didn't really have to, though. They had 200 something yards rushing. It was just weird. I mean, he didn't have to play good, but he did. So congrats to the Colonels. Yep. You set yourself up now. You control your own destiny. You got to win 2 more games. You win an ASUN title. If you drop one and UCA can find a way to beat Jacksonville State, then still UCA's. So made it a little more interesting for the title race, because if UCA had won, that would have been a conference championship. So I don't know. I am disappointed. I am sad.
What can you do?
Not a thing.
Not a thing. Just regroup for this week. But yeah, Joshua Carter looked great, man. $125 on the ground and a touchdown. McKinney had 52 on the ground as well, with the 253 in the air and then the 3 touchdowns. I mean, when we talk about Peyton Ward, he's got to be up there in the top 5 for. And we'll get into this later, but just keep a thought on that name, because you got to think he's got to be up there with the way he's played this year.
No doubt. He's a steady quarterback, and if he had to play good yesterday, if he had to play really, really good yesterday, and be the difference maker, I think he could have been. It was just one of those days, but I don't know. He played. His only interception was actually on a ball he got hit, and so the ball kind of ducked through the air and went straight to safety. But Parker McKinney's the real deal, no doubt. And anybody who doesn't at least look at him for the Peyton Award is blind. But that's enough about that one. I'm never talking about UCA versus Eastern Kentucky of 2022 again. So we'll go on to Kennesaw State, man. They that was very unexpected, and I wouldn't have bet on them to do that. So
yeah, you know what this really sets up though? This sets up
5 turnovers. Jesus.
This sets up a little bit of collusion when it comes to the OVC and their AQ.
Yep.
This is what's good because this is what's going to happen, and we talked about this. They're going to coin flip, and UT Martin's somehow going to get the auto bid, so they can get 2 teams in the playoffs.
As any conference would do.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing. Like that, if I was a commissioner, I would rig it to where I got more teams in the playoffs because that's more potential money. So I would do it too, but it's shady as hell. But we know that Betsy's going to do it. So
the Valley is going to hate the OVC for that.
and then everybody is going to hope that the OVC gets shellacked in their opening round games because of it, because everybody knows that's just what it is.
SEMO won't.
No, SEMO. I don't know because it depends, right? Because they've looked really good, but there's the Heston company has shown vulnerabilities also. It really depends on who their matchup is first round. UT Martin,
that's what I was about to say. If they get put, like, take my bracketology, if they get put against Idaho, they're not going to get destroyed. That's going to be a very good game. That'll be a close game. They may lose in the first round, but I don't think that they're going to get like destroyed.
Idaho beat them by 17.
That's not a blowout.
I think they could win a first round game, but they don't need to play a team from the Big Sky. Now, I think if they played a mid-tier Valley team, which I know the Valley people are going to kill me for saying this, but if they say, I don't know, Youngstown State still got playoff hopes. I think they could go to Youngstown or get them at home and beat them. I think they could beat Southern Illinois because they already have. I think they could beat North Dakota. But if they have to go to somewhere out west and play Idaho or I guess all the freaking Big Sky schools are going to be seeded. I mean
what they got to hope that they match up against someone like Southeastern Louisiana if they sneak in. That would be a better matchup for him, or someone like
it would,
or someone who's whoever wins out of the Big South.
Team.
Yeah, someone
say get a SoCon team.
Get a SoCon team. Get a SoCon team. They'd match up,
or even a CAA team, like a mid-tier CAA team.
Yeah,
like one of those last CAA teams that's in.
Yeah, but if they're matching up against anyone from the Big Sky, they're going to get owned. And we were talking to Valley. You said the Valley folks can get mad. Hey, listen, Valley folks. Sorry, other than South Dakota State and North Dakota State, yeah, they got 2 losses. But who the hell have they played this year? Their resume isn't that great. The conference this year isn't what it normally is. I don't want to say the conference is bad because it's not bad. I've heard people say that, and that's one of the worst takes ever. But you're not the Valley's not the strongest conference anymore. The Big Sky is the strongest conference this year, and that's just what it is. It's an off year for the Valley, and I hate to say that because I love what South Dakota State's doing, and I don't want people to go, well, they won in an off year, But no, it's just it. I honestly, even after last weekend's game, I don't know if the Missouri Valley gets more than 3. They might just because of name recognition, but there's a lot of not deserving teams in that conference right now.
I think, this is maybe a stretch to say this, but UCA not winning out could help the Valley because if UCA, I'm talking about losing yesterday, because if we had won out and been 7-4, even with Abilene getting the AQ, you have to look at UCA. At least you have to, they're a bubble team at that point. So I don't know. I think that helps them. There's some other things that could help them, but UT Martin is going to get in as the AQ. It's just going to happen. And I know we're sitting here talking oh, they could do this. No, they're going to.
Yeah.
They're going to coin flip for UT Martin.
I was trying to be nice, but they're going to. That's what's going to happen. We all know that's what's going to happen.
But good to see Kennesaw get that win, though. They, that what moves them to 5-4. What looked like a lost season for Kennesaw is, maybe they end up with
7-4.
little
They'll be 7-4
or
outside the bubble. Honestly,
they'll be 7-4. What?
And outside of the bubble, they're not going to get in even at 7-4. They'll be
No, they won't.
get in.
They won't be 7-4. I don't think though, because they still have P and Eastern. So I don't think they win
They
both
get
of those.
Austin P at home.
Yep.
And EKU in Richmond. So no, they won't be a bubble team, but at least they'll. What I'm saying though, a lost season turns into possibly a winning season. So good for them. They
especially intercepting UT Martin 5 times.
Yeah,
it's big time.
Big time.
Which, I mean, you do have all the opportunities in the world against them just because they throw the ball so much, but still, that defense played a lot better.
Yeah, that was like the first time I've seen the Kennesaw State defense be the defense that deserves a turnover plank. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I'm like, where's this crap been all year? Why haven't you been doing it? Like, it was the first time they just looked like the Kennesaw State team that you expected to see this year.
Yep. And what could have been if they had been that all year.
Yep.
So let's see. Austin P, North Alabama, kind of hit on this. North Alabama I really thought they were going to get a win, and it was going to be the first one. It was going to be under an interim head coach. Maybe it springs them to win a couple to end the game. But if you're a North Alabama fan, that's depressing. There's no other way to put it. It was at home. That would have been just a perfect script, but I don't know. What do you guys think? Is all hope lost for North Alabama?
Yeah, they should go back to D2.
Yeah. No.
I'm kidding.
UNA if they won all of their close games have been, I believe, I think 3 points exactly for most of their close losses. They would be 5-4 right now.
Yeah.
They lost by, was it 3 to Eastern, 3 to Kennesaw,
3 to Indiana State,
3 to the trees. Yeah.
It's 3. Jeez. That's 4 games right there.
6 to Kennesaw.
Yeah.
6 to Kennesaw. Okay. So that's still 4 games that you lost by less than a touchdown.
Yeah. No, hey, man, crap like that gets you ranked in the top 10 when you shouldn't be ranked. Just ask SFA about that last year. But in all seriousness, you know, I know I was kind of messing with the UNA fans that listen, but look, you have nowhere else to go but up. And the fact that you're doing this and you're doing it, I mean, you played great under an interim coach. You don't know what you're going to get next year. Like, you know, finish out the season and see how it goes. But I would say it looks more promising at UNA than not, honestly. You know, sometimes you get a new coach. Yeah, that first year they might struggle because the new coach, new system, new all that. But you have the pieces in terms of players there that I don't think you'll be lagging that far behind. So just trust the process a little bit, guys.
Well, especially if they get the right guy in there, who knows? UNA could go on a run next year and get into the playoffs.
Yep.
And maybe win 1 or 2 games before they get shellacked by like a Valley or Big Sky team.
Just thinking about Shenderick Powell. He is just a sophomore. He's actually a redshirt freshman, but they'll get him back. He's going to be your first team ASUN, all ASUN running back. So you're going to have the best running back in the league statistically back next year, as long as you can keep him from getting poached. I mean, what's the quarterback? Crap. Can't think of his name right now.
I have it somewhere.
It just left me. Noah Walters.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
He has shown some promise periodically. He's thrown probably too many interceptions, but he's coming along. So he's also young, I think. Yeah, he's just a freshman. So I think things are looking up. Hopefully they get a good coach that can come in and put it all together, because, I mean, we talked about this preseason. They had more all-conference preseason selections than anybody in the conference. And I think you can see periodically some individual performances that show you why. They just hadn't, put the pieces together yet. So hopefully somebody can do that and restore glory there in Florence, Alabama. So, because I think they've got a good fan base. They've got an invested fan base, maybe a dramatic fan base, but they've got an invested fan base. So
their fan base is a lot like Jacksonville State. It's just when they're playing like they are, attendance is extremely down.
Your fan bases are both very operatic or very hyperbolic, I guess you could say. Like it's
all bad or all good.
it's all it's all, there's never in the middle. It's all bad or it's all good. You guys, I don't want to say you're bipolar, but you are
close to it.
Yeah, you're pretty damn close to it. So
well, when you're in the same state as the University of Alabama, you have something to compare to and live up to. So
geez,
it's like Auburn. I mean, really, if you look at all the fan bases that you can think of in Alabama, which I don't know anything about Troy.
Troy sucks.
But like, I don't know anything about their fans.
They suck.
Okay, well,
they're trash.
That's fair.
That school is trash.
All right. Abilene.
Oh, you got off of Alabama too quick. I was going to blast a little bit to troll out the Tide losing, but go on.
Go ahead. You can troll them. I don't care.
Please.
I was going to blast a little bit of that. This has FCS ties to it also. It is Southern University doing neck.
I was going to say, is that neck? That's funny.
We'll stop it there.
I'll get to hear that a lot this weekend because the Marching Southerners play it.
Let's stop it there. And also, I'm going to say too, although LSU's out, bring neck, let neck be played at Tiger Stadium.
Let the band play neck.
Let the kids sing.
Let the band play neck. That's funny.
Oh, trust me, I'm surprised JSU hasn't banned it yet.
I was trying to beg the Lumberjack marching band to play it. And I was like, just play it for fun. That'd be just fun. One game.
I can't wait this weekend to hear the SFA band do the little SFA like chant that they do 1,500 times a game. You know what I'm talking about? I'm not going to do it on live air.
Are you talking about during our fight song when we do it?
No, it's like I don't know.
Let's hear it. Let's hear it. Come on.
No, they do the little hand signals the whole time.
Oh,
yeah, that one.
That one, yeah.
They do that 1,000 times a game. That's all I remember from playing them in Conway all the time.
Look, man, I just plan on. Never mind. I'm just gonna say we'll have a well stocked place for our game, so you'll be fine. You can drown it out with something else.
All right. Well, let's look at Abilene here because they are 6-3 now with a win over Tarleton. 28-23, had to score 14 points in the fourth quarter to do it. So they had to come up clutch, but they did, and they are on the inside track to an auto bid. McElvore threw for 385. Yeah. He's playing well.
Yeah,
and they looks like they're going to be tough to. They're going to be a tough out come 2 weeks from now for SFA.
Yeah, playing in Abilene is hard. Like that, people don't get that. Abilene, like especially the new stadium that they've built, going out to Abilene and playing is not easy. And week over week, yeah, they had to come back against Tarleton, but week over week they've slowly improved. They've gotten better. They've gotten their stuff together, and it's very, very hard to beat a team twice. Let alone the fact that SFA beat them on one of the wildest damn plays sequence of plays you'll ever see in a game.
Yeah.
So. We talk about the AQ, we talk about stuff. This is truly Abilene Christians to lose at this point.
I agree.
The Abilene Christian doesn't need, they've got to not stumble these last 2 weeks. And, they could. I mean, you never know, because I think it's going to come down for the WAC. It'll come down to SFA Abilene Christian. That's going to decide your WAC champion and probably decide who gets the AQ, to be honest with you. Because I think if SFA beats UCA, that's going to help them. And then if SFA can beat Abilene Christian, they'll have the WAC side of it. And I think they would get the AQ. So very, very, very important game.
I hate to burst your bubble. Abilene has already won the WAC.
No, they haven't. Have they?
Yes, they have. Y'all's conference record is 2-2.
No, we only have one loss. Like that counts in conference. They put Sam Houston as a conference loss. We didn't. That doesn't count against us.
Yeah, the Sam Houston loss doesn't count.
Doesn't count. We're 2-1 in conference. Our only conference loss is Utah Tech.
I see.
Yeah.
Score Mobile is counting.
No, so
those losses.
It's funny though, because they put it on the WAC against SFA against Sam, but they haven't put it against anybody else Sam has played. But they haven't gone back and fixed that on the standings, I don't think. So,
the WACSUN still has JSU in the standings, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, because everybody plays them, and so it's not. They're counting it. The WACSUN is. It's kind of dumb, but whatever. We'll talk.
Yeah. Well, okay. Yeah.
Let's talk about the AQ right now, actually, because let's see, who else do we even have to talk about?
Hey man, give a shout out to the
Southern
Blazers.
Utah.
Give a shout out to the Blazers.
Good job, Utah Tech. You beat your in-state rival by a healthy score too. So you're getting better.
On a 2-game win streak.
On a 2-game streak, and their quarterback, dude, had some crazy ass stats in that game. And I have them up. I had them up right here. Hold on, where did they go?
Is it a fat stat?
It would be a fat stat.
Oh my
Sean
gosh!
Anderson's listening. So Victor Gabales, I can't remember his last name. 24-36, 463 yards, 5 touchdowns.
Jeez.
And then yeah. And then Quayle Connolly on the ground went for 155 yards and a touchdown. So Sean Anderson, that's a fat stat. If that's not on your fat stats,
are you going to mention Ricky Johnson?
I was getting there. Ricky Johnson, 277 yards, 3 touchdowns. 9 total receptions, average 30.8 yards per catch.
Jeez.
And then Joey Aubert went for 144 yards and 2 touchdowns. So wow, just what a performance by the Blazers. I mean, legit solid performance. You can't even be upset about it. Anything there? Like, yes, I said earlier this year, I said as they went on through the year, the schedule they played last year, the schedule they played this year is going to help them. And I think now we're seeing them reap the rewards. Yes, Southern Utah is not good. I mean, but that's 2 wins. That's winning against your in-state rival. That's momentum for next year.
They are a tough out, I still think.
Yeah.
Southern Utah. It's not like that's a terrible win. Like,
no.
We saw how tough they can play against somebody like SFA. They took Eastern Kentucky to the brink. So they've played some teams close.
I think we got to watch for the WAC because I think honestly in the next couple of years, your winner could be coming out of Utah, not Texas.
That'd be nuts.
Yeah.
Hopefully we have not a super conference, but a unified conference.
Exactly.
Who knows what state it'll come out of at that point?
I was about to say, at that point, I don't know.
Could come out of freaking Kentucky.
Yeah.
Or Arkansas.
You never know. All right, let's talk the AQ.
Okay, yeah, that's what I was going to say. Because let's do some breakdown here. SFA, the only game that doesn't count in WAC standings is Sam Houston, correct?
That is correct.
So 1-0, 2-0, 3-0, 3-1. You guys are 3-1, correct?
First game
Abilene doesn't count.
The first game against Abilene doesn't count. It is a yeah.
So you're 2-1 in the conference.
Yep.
Abilene is 1-0, 2-0, 3-0, with your game still coming, and so same here. So if they lose to you, they're 3-1. If you win, you're 3-1.
Yep.
And would they use the head-to-head? I guess.
Yep, that would be the tiebreaker in the conference. Would be the head-to-head, and that's what would own that.
That's going to be your conference championship game, no matter what.
Yep.
Because they're playing Sam Houston, you're playing UCA, so neither of those games matter.
Yep.
Man, that's huge. And the only thing that could throw a wrench in one of you getting the AQ is if Eastern Kentucky wins out.
Yeah, that's exactly it.
Because if EK, let's see, Abilene is 1-0, 2-0, 3-0, 3-1, 4-1, 4-2, 5-2 right now on countable games. And you guys are what, 4-1?
Yeah.
So Eastern Kentucky right now at 6-3, one of their losses doesn't count, so they're really 6-2.
If they went out, they'd be 8-2.
So they would, really Eastern Kentucky just has to win out to get the AQ.
Yep.
Now I don't know if they'll beat.
I have a question. Are games against Jacksonville State countable games?
If they win.
If you win, yeah.
If you win. If
you lose, no. Because you're an FBS transitioning team.
We'll get to that in a little bit.
Yeah. so really, EKU has to win against. Now I'm blanking on who they close against.
Kennesaw. They have to beat Kennesaw.
Oh, jeez. Okay, just give them the damn AQ.
Well, No, well, yeah, because and if they lost to Jacksonville State, they'd be 7-2. So,
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll see. That's the sticky situation because Kennesaw or not Kennesaw, sorry, Eastern. The thing is, Eastern could not win the ASUN too. If they lose to Jacksonville State and say UCA somehow beats Jacksonville State, UCA still wins the ASUN.
Right.
What's
Because
crazy?
you would have even though we won't win the title, you'll have a 3-way tie for first.
Yeah, that would be not able to be decided.
Actually, no, you would have a 2-way tie because of the countable
Oh
game.
yeah, because
within
EKU
conference.
would have
Yeah.
already If man, well, no. Here's what could happen: if Eastern beats Jacksonville State and UCA beats Jacksonville State, no. If Jacksonville State beats, oh shit, I don't know. This is kind of wild. You're gonna have a 2-way tie for first, one way or another. Yeah. So, UCA could go 5-6 and win the ASUN.
And
Yeah.
you're sitting there like all hope is lost. Woe is me.
I mean, it would not be cool to know that you won your conference and had a losing record. That wouldn't be fun.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, you could hang your hat on a conference title, but when you go look at the record books and you were 5-6, that's a little weird.
Yeah, that's true.
What's even more crazy is JSU's schedule is very favorable to win out. And your conference champion cannot claim said championship.
I mean, that's normal though.
Yeah, I know. But it's just makes giving that title away harder because you could still end up having a 2-way tie for second.
Oh, shut up!
See,
you guys are playing with more cards in your deck than anybody else.
Well, and that's what I was gonna say.
Which I understand that. I understand we're not going to win the ASUN.
But like it shouldn't make it. I don't think it makes it any harder for the conference to give their AQ to somebody who played FCS football this year. I mean,
yeah,
you see what I'm saying? Like, I don't think it's going to hurt the conference's feelings to give it to the team that came in second, just because. I mean, theoretically, you should win the conference. Like you're playing with more, like he said, more cards in your deck. So like you should win the conference. Yeah. And so really, if you do win it, all that's happening is what should have happened.
Yeah. That's it. You're performing as expected. Congrats. So, here's some orange slices and Capri Sun. You've done what you needed to
do. The post-game snacks. So if you're a UCA fan watching this, you're a big Jacksonville State fan this week, because you need Eastern to lose and get that second loss to give you what would be a de facto conference championship game in Conway on the 19th. So, which it would be a conference championship game in the fact that if UCA wins, they get it. If they lose, Eastern gets it. So,
yeah.
Wow.
Austin Peay could get it at that point. Dang.
Yeah.
Yeah, because who does Austin Peay have left? Kennesaw.
Is that it?
Yeah. They have Kennesaw. That's it. Yeah.
So what are they right now?
If they are
2-2.
2-2
with losses to Jacksonville State and UCA.
Yes.
So if they beat Kennesaw this week, and then
they'll be 3-2.
And then if oh man, there's a lot of different ways this could go.
Because they play Alabama on the 19th. So
if Jacksonville State beats both EKU
and
UCA, there will be a 3-way tie for second. Who gets that freaking championship? Because UCA beat Austin Peay, correct?
UCA beat Austin Peay.
EKU beat UCA.
Yep.
At that point, they would probably just name 3 co-champions, and because nobody out of that group would get the AQ.
Yeah, it wouldn't matter because they come from the WAC at that point.
Right. And
Austin
so
Peay beat
they would say, we have nothing to lose. Let's name 3 co-champions. Let 3 people have a ring, and the inaugural season would have 3 champs.
Which honestly is par for the course with what the ASUN does. Like, let's just be honest. Like, that's the fitting way for ASUN football to end it.
Honestly, they'd probably determine it with that stupid freaking power ranking. They'd probably be like, "Well, Warren Nolan said that Eastern Kentucky was a little bit better, so he gets to determine the champ."
Would you nominate all three
It wouldn't matter.
for
It
the
wouldn't
possible
matter.
It wouldn't matter. It
AQ?
wouldn't matter. It wouldn't matter because they wouldn't get it.
Yeah, none of the three schools would have the better record.
You would put. I mean, you would put them up, but it wouldn't matter. It would come down to whoever went out of SFA or ACU.
Yeah.
Just
But
because
man,
of the records. Yeah, I mean, just because
if we didn't have the stupid alliance,
Which I guess Eastern could still get it because that loss to Jacksonville State wouldn't count.
no, it wouldn't count. Yeah, it doesn't hurt.
And
them.
they could then if they beat Kennesaw to end the year.
But if UCA could beat Jacksonville State, would that make it fun?
That would be nice. Yeah, if UCA beats Jacksonville State in a couple weeks and Jacksonville State wins this week, then it would be UCA's.
Yeah.
Man.
It's yours to lose, Will. The fighting Will Sillers.
This is just a nuts way to do. God, it's so weird to think that you could be 5-6 and
you remember the whole mess that the CAA was in a couple of years ago?
Yeah, this is what it sounded like.
That's what we are in right now.
And we should utilize your contacts. We should get Coach Brown on the show and ask him what he thinks about this.
Jeez, that'd be fun.
You know what? After the game next week, because we can run out on the field, I'm gonna go find him and be like, "Hey man, I'm part of the WACSUN Weekly. Want to come on the show?"
Oh God, he's gonna be like, "I have never heard of you."
I know Will Siller.
Oh well, he might come on if you said that.
No, I mean, as much as I would love him to, next week we got to do something for the people. We got to go live next week.
Yes, we do.
That has to be the live. Next week has to be the live show.
I don't know if you saw it. Coach Brown actually did an interview with Bobby Bones.
No.
Yeah, Bobby Bones had him
Nice.
on. He has a football
Nice.
segment that he does, and he had him on because he's an Arkansas guy. He's from Arkansas, and so he had him on and talked to him a little bit. It was like a 30-minute interview. It's pretty cool.
That's pretty sweet.
Yeah, I know. So he may be too big time for us now if he's getting Bobby Bones interviews.
I know.
He may not care about WACSUN Weekly interviews.
That's a damn shame. It's a damn shame.
Oh man, nah, he'd come on if we ask him to.
He's a nice guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, let's hit some general FCS talk here. It's the end of the year, or it's coming up the end of the year. Peyton Award voting is about to occur. Our own Jamie Williams, as part of the FCS Fans Nation network, is gonna vote, and I guess Lawrence will too, right?
Yep.
So we have 2 voters. That's big time. Shameless plug. Who I think there's only one person that is. I think there's somebody who should win it and should win it unanimously. And there goes Derrick Henry for.
Just saw that.
Dude.
Well, I'll let y'all focus on that game, and I'll just say the person who should unanimously win this, and that is the Dr. Lindsey Scott Jr.
It is not even a close comparison.
Yeah, the only person I could think of that might come close to him would be Tim DeMorat from Forden, but I think at the end of the day, Lindsey Scott Jr. is going to get it. I mean, he is 3,380 yards, 45 touchdowns. How many picks does he have? You want to guess?
I think he has 1.
That's
3?
4.
Okay.
4 total picks so far this season. Insane video game numbers, and they're just absolutely boat racing the teams they play. That loss to SLU was an absolute fluke.
Mm-hmm.
It had to be a fluke. Some busted coverage. Not saying SLU is a bad team. Scott played part of that game injured. Like he was getting like target. Like I won't say target, but they were going after him. He played part of that game injured. You could see it. But man, look at what they did. They played Houston Christian, who granted Northern Alabama fans take note here because you guys should be D1. Houston Christian should not be a D1 school.
No.
And they were up. They had scored 70 points at halftime against.
Wasn't it like 70-3 at half?
Yeah, and the final was 73-20 because they laid off against them because I'm sure
they put their 4th strings in.
I'm sure they're like, we're playing Houston Christian. Maybe God's watching.
They got
they
got some high school kids from the stands to play for them.
But that game was that game? I can't remember. Was it in San Antonio? I think it was in San Antonio. Yeah, it was their homecoming.
It was.
Yeah, it was.
I can't make the CVS joke, but No, like he's absolutely destroying folks. There should be no question on who gets the Peyton. And there's been this like stuff about with Jacksonville State with Sanders like for the Heisman, but what the hell? If you're going to push Sanders for the Heisman, you need to push the doctor for the Heisman as well, because the doctor is putting up video game stats this year. It's not even close.
And his shot on the ESPN app, like his picture, just look how nice he looks. He just looks like such a nice guy.
He's quite the nice young gentleman. He likes my tweets when I call him the doctor. He enjoys that.
His Letterman jacket is like the dopest roster shot I think I've ever seen.
I know, right? Like
that's the coolest thing ever. Like I want to be that guy.
Yeah.
No, I don't think it's even a race. I think it's his.
There we go.
And speaking of Lindsey Scott Jr. and UIW, they've got the conference championship game this week against Northwestern State.
That's the thing. God. So here's the thing: how surprising!
Tastes like vinegar coming out of my mouth.
Northwestern State is undefeated in conference right now. Who would have ever thought that would happen? Now, granted, look at who they played.
Well, and their only wins too are in conference. They're 4-0.
Yeah, but again, look at who they played. They absolutely boat raced A&M Commerce though. Like they
surprised.
They woodshedded them, but they haven't played SLU and they haven't played Incarnate Word. So I think that pipe dream is gonna end pretty quickly, because I think that's gonna be a 56-3 game at half. Honestly,
it should be.
It should be. There's no question that. Yeah, and then once they get that, they wrap up the conference. That's theirs at that point.
Wouldn't it be some crazy stuff if like the Doctor's only bad game comes against Northwestern State, they win the conference, make the playoffs? Oh God.
Dude, if Northwestern State wins that game, I will donate money. So all right,
be careful. That athletic, what's his name? Greg Burke. Is that his first name?
No, screw that guy. Greg Burke can piss right off. I'm talking more to the Forkum Podcast people, because I know they listen to this. Forkum Podcast, you tell me which charitable donation at Northwestern State needs the money, and I will donate money and I will put it out there, because that's how much I would love to see you guys beat Incarnate Word, because it would just be funny at that point.
I think UIW has a real shot to make some noise in the playoffs, depending on what side of the bracket they get. I think they have a better shot, and North Dakota State fans are going to hate me if they got on that side of the bracket, which I know they're not going to be a top 2 seed, but I think they'd rather either go to Fargo or have to play North Dakota State one way or the other than they would South Dakota State. And the thing is, they could get NDSU in San Antonio.
That is true.
So they're going to have a home playoff game, most likely.
Yeah. They're going to have a seed. They're going to have a seed unless they somehow stumble. And they honestly match up really well against North Dakota State. Look at how Arizona played against North Dakota State. UIW runs the exact same offense.
And I'm willing to bet UIW is almost as good at it as Arizona.
Arizona. Yeah, I mean, look, they have a mobile quarterback who can move, who can throw. Their defense isn't a bunch of slouches, although they do play in a conference where defense doesn't exist for the most part.
But there's one thing in playing a bad defense and putting 70 points on a bad defense in the first half.
Exactly. Well, again, Houston Christian should not be a Division I school. They shouldn't be a Division II school. Put them in D3 or put them in NAIA, honestly. Put them down. Bring Warner up. Warner would perform better. At least Warner didn't give up 70 points in the first half against SFA. It's only 59-0.
Yeah, it's true.
But this game is gonna be great. I don't know how people it's Incarnate Word versus the Demons. Like this, so many great headlines you could have with this game.
I just now realized that. Oh my god!
It's even the name Cardinals, Justin's Birds, but no one has to do with the church. So you got Cardinals and you got Demons. It's like perfect headlines.
Catholics versus the Demons.
Yeah, it's almost like the rematch of Catholics versus Convicts from the '90s. Like this is like the perfect thing. Get on this. Colin Vidros, I know you listen to this too, and you're the writer for Northwestern State. Get on the headlines here.
That's funny.
Or because it deals with the church, Angels versus Demons.
Angels versus Demons. Dan Brown might sue him, but I think that'd be a good one too.
Who knew this was a Southland Conference podcast?
Hey, listen, Chris Hammond is upset because we haven't talked about baseball or Idaho yet. So
I'm always down to talk ball. I don't know much about Idaho other than, like you said, they play in a sideways beer can. I love the Kiwi Dome, though.
I think I used to back in the day whenever I would play NCAA and Idaho was on there, I'd play as Idaho just to play in the Kibby Dome. Because I
Yeah.
thought that was the most jacked up looking stadium I've ever seen in my life. And you know what? It still is.
How many national championships have been won in the Kibby Dome? Like virtual national
Oh
championship.
yeah, no, right? Like,
Okay.
see, I don't use those as my thing whenever I you see a coach lose a job and I say, hey man, I use me taking Bowling Green to the national championship on NCAA 13 and
Yeah.
making a dynasty out of them.
That's fair. Dude, it is the end of the year. We can talk about any school and any sport we want.
Look, we got 500 views last week. That was a great number. We can
Props to Brandon for throwing his
props to
bracket
Brandon.
out there. That is why. I know we were like, oh, I wonder why we got so many views. It's because
No,
we
we
put
didn't watch.
bracketology in the title. I'm going to put bracketology in the title this week. Not bracketology. Figure out a way to make not really, really small.
Yeah. So the reason why I asked you, by the way, for that picture that of my reaction is I was watching Hack City and Joe DeLeon was doing a live thing and he was doing it from, I guess, his house or whatever. He had nothing on his walls. So I was like, hey man, I'm going to send you something. So I have his address. So I was going to make a fat head of that and send it to him and put it behind.
That's hilarious.
But it said it was just too low resolution. So I'm going to have to figure out something else.
That's funny. Well, hey, while we're still in the middle here, I had like an epiphany today. The reason nobody I don't know how to describe this. The WACSUN right now feels very mid, if that makes any sense. Like no team has said has come out and showed that they're better than anybody else. Really, I mean, everybody's beating everybody else. Like everybody's beating each other up.
Yeah.
Is that just a result of having a small conference with teams that are all decent but not great, or is it really just a phenomenon where none of these teams are very good?
I know what Kyler Neal's answer would be. My answer is that all these teams are on the middle of the bell curve, basically, that they're all, and we can look at their out of conference to sort of prove that too, right? Where you've seen great competition out of conference by these schools. You see Eastern Kentucky getting wins. You see Austin P hanging in Western Kentucky. I don't think it's what you're saying about it. I think they're all good schools. I think they're all. I think it's if we put it on a bell curve, it's just the middle of the curve. That's where everybody basically is, and that's okay.
I think everybody is good enough to beat anybody else by 30 points, but everybody is also bad enough to lose to somebody else by 30 points. I mean, Look at UCA. You beat Austin P by 30.
You lost.
You looked like yeah, and then Austin P has beaten Eastern Kentucky by double digits, and then we get blown out in Richmond. And so, I don't know. I think that part of it is you've got a small conference, and so you've got a very small sample size.
Yeah.
So take this. What if this was a conference like the Southland where there's, or like the old Southland where there was 12 teams or 11, whatever it was, and you had UCA, Eastern Kentucky, and Austin P at the top, or even Kennesaw. You had them at the top. Even if they beat each other up, there was 8 schools to also beat up on.
Yeah, exactly.
And most conferences are like that. And so I think it's a little unfortunate for some of the schools that UCA had a pretty stout non-conference schedule. SEMO is going to make the playoffs. Lindenwood was a fluke, I think. But Missouri State, whatever. I think that it's a result of having a very small conference and having to schedule a lot of non-con.
Yeah.
Because if you don't schedule an easy non-conference, you're setting yourself up kind of for failure. And so I think I would love to be in a conference where there were some like cellar dwellers.
My thought on it too is that I think this year's such a CF, if you will, because of how we're having to do all this. I think next year when we're at one unified thing where we're all playing cross schedules, we're all doing that sort of thing. I think that's when you're really going to see the cream rise to the top, and you're going to see, I think that's when you're going to see it kind of become like every other conference where you see like 2 or 3 really good teams and then maybe 2 or 3 really bad teams. I think that's going to happen. This year's been the definition of, and it's not. And before I say it's not just us; it's across the FCS, but it's been the definition of any given Saturday.
Yeah,
that's what's happened this year because there have been games that you didn't think what happened. Like, who the hell thought you and I would almost beat South Dakota State on Saturday?
Oh,
Nobody.
I
did.
was hoping they would.
I mean, that was
hoping they would.
that was the game that, South Dakota has their South Dakota stumble that they always do, right? And I figured that was it because you're playing in the Unidome. They know how to win on that turf, and they still managed to pull it out. But just look at some of these other games, and it's just any given Saturday has happened. You've seen upsets, you've seen games you didn't expect to see happen. We know Idaho's good. Shout out Chris Hammond, but who thought they'd beat Montana? That was a game that a lot of people didn't pick them to win, and look what's going on. So I think this year is a very interesting year because I think you're seeing sort of the cyclical nature of teams sort of happen where you see some teams rise up that hadn't been as good and some teams that had been good kind of drift back down just a little bit and that FCS cycle that we tend to see. And I just don't think people expected to see that happen this year. Like no one expected Missouri State to do what they did this year.
No one expected. I think people thought SFA would just run the WAC.
Yeah, nobody expected SFA to crap the bed this year. But you can't say crap the bed. They still are above 500.
Well,
But they
technically still have a playoff shot.
Yeah, but they're just not the top 10 team that everybody thought they would be.
Right. So I think it's a conference full of, like you said, top of the middle of the bell curve teams that are all having to play each other. And it's a little unfortunate, or you could say it's a good thing. I don't know. I think any of these teams would be very competitive in their former conferences. I think UCA and SFA, with the exception of UIW and maybe Southeastern Louisiana, would be very, very competitive in the Southland. I think Eastern Kentucky would win the OVC, or at least challenge SEMO for it, which they already beat them, so probably win it. And then Kennesaw in the Big South. Kennesaw could be as bad as they want to and win the Big South. So it just is what it is. But it's an interesting.
You'd have about a 5-team race for the OVC if you threw every single team in the ASUN back in the OVC that came from there.
Yeah. So,
which could probably give you 2 bids, maybe 3, depending on how you did it in out of conference.
Yeah, it's weird to think about. I really hope that we go back to a bigger conference. I hope that we form a completely unified ASUN WAC.
It wouldn't surprise me if they're already talking about it.
I'm sure they are. You have to, because the ASUN, which I don't know, this is another thing about the ASUN. Nobody's heard anything from Ted Gumbart since he announced he's retiring. And so I'm hoping he's okay. I know he had, I was told he had some health problems. So I really hope he's doing all right, because he's been dark since that announcement. But if I'm the ASUN, I don't know that I necessarily want to keep trying to fight this battle of expanding and then have teams leave, especially with the thought that others might be leaving. Let somebody else run it, form a separate entity for a football conference, and call it done. Because I think that would be the easiest thing to do. But let's see. Is it time to talk some week 12? No, week 11?
Yeah, what week are we on anyway, to be honest with you?
It's week 11, 10th game of the year. Week 11. That's nuts.
Unless you're South Dakota State, it's your 11th game of the year.
Dang, good for them. If they win this week, they lock up a top 2 seed. I wonder if Chad knows he does not need a link. He could
he does. Yeah, he does. No, he does. They don't record out of the same place we do.
Oh, okay.
Wait,
so I'm trying to get
check the group chat. All right, let's check the group chat.
Okay.
The Twitter group chat. All right, let's run through the games we have this week. Austin P, Kennesaw State playing each other there in Kennesaw. Eastern Kentucky at Jacksonville State. UCA at SFA. Going to be a fun one. Tennessee Tech at North Alabama. There's a game that North Alabama, I think, could and should win. Talented enough to win. Abilene Christian at Sam Houston. Lincoln, whoever the heck that is. Are they from California?
They are. They are. Okay. They're Oakland. SFA played them last year as a game that we had to get a fill in for.
Yeah.
Lincoln. They're their mascots, the Oaklanders, because they're in Oakland.
Nice.
Yeah, they should be the Town
Interesting.
Cars. That should be their name, the Lincoln Town Cars. That would have been a perfect name for them.
The Lincoln Town Cars.
It would be fun. My grandma drove a Lincoln Town car for a long time. And then, so they're at Southern Utah, and then Tarleton playing at Utah Tech in the Battle of the WAC transitioning schools. So, man, we had a dilemma on the game of the week, but we finally decided on Eastern Kentucky and Jacksonville State because I was fine with UCA SFA. I really was. I didn't care.
Let's take the pressure off our game, and plus, I know who Brandon's going to pick, and so I'm going to pick the same as him, and so he can't improve on me in the standings.
That's true. Just a spoiler alert for anybody watching. You know who Rev's going to pick because it's whoever Brandon picks.
Unless I change my pick.
Well, you're going first. That's the fun part about this.
So let's start at the top. Austin P and Kennesaw. That last week I would have said Austin P wins by a healthy amount, but this week Kennesaw looks like they may be getting a little bit better, maybe getting healthy is what it is. So this one could be fun and maybe not a blowout. What do you guys think?
It's really hard because I don't know, you don't know what you're going to get with Kennesaw at this moment. If they play like they played last week, then hell yeah, right? I'm going to take the Owls.
Sure.
But you just don't. I just don't know. I'm trying to look to see. Kennesaw State's at home again this week, right? Like that's a home game for them, isn't it? Yeah, it is. You know what? I'm going to kill myself for doing this, or I'm going to take the Owls because they're at home.
Okay, Brandon.
Let's do it.
Yeah, I think they're getting healthy, like you said, Will, and they're at home, and this would set up what we were talking about earlier, a three-way tie for second. So I'm gonna take the Owls to create a little bit of chaos in the A-Sun.
So I am going to disagree with both of you because Austin P has the 10th best defense in the FCS total defense.
And where has it been?
Huh? What do you mean?
Well, where has it been?
I mean, the only game that they've really not had it. I mean, they gave up 49 to UCA and then 40 to Jacksonville State, which doesn't count. It's an FBS game. And then they gave up 35 to North Alabama. That's the worst games they've had.
I wish I had this loaded for whenever he said that because this little drum roll effect for that because yeah, I mean he's right. I mean to your point, they are the 10th thing, but it does.
You played Presbyterian. You played Alabama A&M.
Exactly.
You played Mississippi Valley State.
Look at who you played. That's the problem. I don't think that's a true litmus test when you're playing schools that are just they're not tough.
You also have the 16th ranked rushing defense, which I don't care who you're playing. Rushing defense is unless you're playing an elite O-line, or unless you're playing terrible O-lines and having to go play like the Hogs from South Dakota State. That's like a universal stat. Like you're going to be good against the run or you're not going to be good against
the run. But they played against, so look at their stat. Here's what I'll do. Let's take out their stats against Presbyterian, Alabama A&M, Mississippi Valley State, and see how much it increases their yards against average.
I don't think it does. I think it hurts it.
That's what he's saying. Increases it like how much their yards.
That's what I'm saying. How much they've given up. How much they've given up versus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, look at Eastern Kentucky. They gave up 329 yards, only 213 through the air, 100 on the ground. You can say what you want. Murray State's not any of those three teams that were like Presbyterian, Alabama A&M, or Mississippi Valley State. They gave up 34 rushing yards, only 219 total. Your outliers, obviously, UCA to Jacksonville State. I wish I could look at first half stats. They still only gave up 374 yards total. So And you got to think some of those points against Jacksonville State were defensive points. To North Alabama, we know how good some of their offensive players have been. They did give up 260 on the ground, but that's Shenderick Powell. So I don't know, but I'm not going to pick Kennesaw. I'm going to pick Austin Peay because I think the defense is the key to beating Kennesaw, and I don't think Kennesaw's offense. I know they scored on UT Martin, but I don't think UT Martin has a defense. So
Yeah.
That's just me. I'm rolling with the Govs.
All right.
The Govnas.
All right.
Next on the list is Eastern Kentucky at Jacksonville State.
No, that should be game of the week.
That's the game of the week.
Sorry, guys. I'm reading off the list.
Sorry.
UCA.
It's my fault because whenever I sent the list, I didn't break it out because we were still fighting over the list. So sorry. Blame the person who's putting the stuff together behind the scenes.
Dang it, Rev. We could pick the game of the week second. I don't care.
No, let's save it last. That'll be fine.
Central Arkansas making the trip down to NAC to play the Lumberjacks. I will be there. Rev will be there. It's going to be a grand old time. My dad will be there as well. Can't wait. We're going to be on the on-field suite, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if anybody's going to that game, come say hey. Let us know.
We will be, tailgating bright and early, and we'll show up whenever he gets there. But the rest of us who are getting in town Friday night will tailgate bright and early. Come by the tailgate, come say hi. Even you UCA fans, all 100 of you that are going to come. That's not a mark against UCA in general. I just also realized that it's November. You may not want to come to NAC because there's other things that might be going on that weekend, like hunting season.
I was going to say hunting season.
It's hunting season.
Opening weekend at that. So
yeah, exactly. It's opening week. I mean, that's what it is. So
thank God this is not a home game. Just saying. I'd rather play on the road than in front of a crowd that's not there because they're hunting.
Yeah. No, it'll be fun. Like I said, if SFA can play how they played against every team the past 4 weeks except for Utah Tech, then I have a lot of confidence in them beating the Bears. But I feel like every week their defense has regressed instead of progressed. And that's concerning because whenever UCA is on, they are a very potent offense. And so I'm not going to pick this game. I'm going to take a will approach on this one. I just...
Hey, no, that's my secret weapon. You can't do that.
I'm not going to pick this game.
You pick UCA and I'll pick Steven.
Fine. I'm going to pick UCA.
No, I'm not doing that.
UCA's going to win. I think I'm going to pick UCA because as of right now, I think they have the better put together team. So that's it. I am picking the Bears, and it bit me in the ass last week, but I'm going to do it again.
This is toxic. I hate
this. and I will have a lot of champagne and a lot of tequila down on my on-field suite, so it'll help ease the pain of this one. So,
Brandon.
Oh, the battle of inconsistent teams. Who to pick? I think as far as weapons is concerned, UCA has the better weapons. So for that reason, I think I'm going to go UCA just because they have that safety net with Darius Hale, Will McElvain, and so yeah.
So Hale,
if Darius plays.
If he plays, I was going to say, how bad's his hammy?
He was practicing.
He'll
he didn't play against Eastern, but it was cold and windy, so we'll see. I hope he plays, but also don't want him to get hurt. So I don't want him to hurt it any worse than it is. So I think it just really depends on which team shows up. I don't want to blame anything on a trip, but UCA bust to Richmond. That's a terrible bus ride.
Yeah.
Like, it is awful.
Yeah.
So I don't want to make an excuse or anything, but this is a lot more manageable of a bus ride. I mean, they'll leave at 8 a.m, be there by 1:30 in the afternoon, get to eat lunch, do whatever they want there in they'll probably stay at
Let's at the Hampton Inn.
No, they stay at the Sabine or Sabine thing. We stayed there for Northwestern State too.
Wait, what? Where are you staying?
It's a resort. Shoot, I don't remember. It's there in the like Sabine National.
Oh, you're staying out there. You don't want to stay in town. I get it.
No, see hardly ever stays in town. Toledo Bend, I think that's what it is. It's the resort over there on the Toledo Bend Reservoir.
That's further. I mean, that seems dumb to me. That just seems more out of the way.
Well, they stay there a lot of the times. We would stay there for Northwestern State and for SFA, just because it was one way or the other. It's a resort style, so it's like very comfortable. It's not just like cramped up in a hotel room. I always liked it. We enjoy staying there, but we hardly ever stay in town just because you stay away from the other schools like fan base and everything if they're in town. But they may be at the Hampton Inn because there's no rooms available there. I have no idea.
We're very nice. We're very nice to incoming fan bases when they come to NAC.
That's just a strategy. That's like a
I know it is. I know it is. It's
so. But I will say there are no rooms available at the Hampton, and just about every other hotel there is. And so they may be staying at the Hampton. Who knows?
Do you and your dad get a room?
We're going to stay close to campus. Since it's just me and him, we're going to stay a little bit closer and maybe not as nice. So
don't say the Victorian. Please just don't stay there. Stay at the Days Inn.
I don't think it's that one. But
okay.
Man, it really just depends on who shows up. I think this trip's more manageable. I wish they could have flown to Richmond. Just like thinking back here now. But if they show up and play the way they did offensively the 4 weeks before Eastern Kentucky, it's hard to pick against them. But I mean, if they play the way they did against Eastern this past week, it's hard to pick them. I don't know. This is a total toss-up for me, which a lot of the UCA SFA games in the Southland history they were big toss-up games. So I tell you what, I'm looking forward to it. I think it'll be fun. I just hope they can keep UCA. I hope the players at UCA are, still bought in, because at the FCS level, knowing that like your playoff hopes are dashed, sometimes it's hard to keep people.
Your playoff hopes aren't dashed.
The playoff hopes are.
Your playoff hopes. You never know. Listen.
No,
even if there's only a 1% chance of it happening, that means it can still happen. Okay, like
but there's not. Like there's no situation. Like there's no scenario where it can.
Okay, Eeyore, whatever you say.
No, I'm a very optimistic person. But
all right, Chicken Little. I don't know. I'm gonna run out names for you. No,
I'm gonna leave this podcast.
What I'm looking forward about Saturday, besides the fact that you and CW are coming in, is that we have great weather, because we talked about this before. But I remember the UCA game where it flooded, and we had a foot of rain, and it was raining so hard that when they spotted the ball, it would float. Yep. Because there's so much water on the field.
Oh my god!
Should not have been played.
Should not have been played. We tailgated. My wife had just like dyed her hair like 2 days before, and the rain washed it all out of her hair more than 2 days, because it rained that hard. Like it was miserable. It was I mean my clothes were soaked. My wallet was soaked. I had it and it was buried under layers of clothes, and I had my wallet in a Ziploc, and it was still soaked with how hard it just absolutely just rained. But we're looking 60 degrees in the afternoon, winds out of the north. Should be a good time. Beautiful day.
Should be a Chamber of Commerce day.
Chamber of Commerce day in old Nacogdoches.
That's right.
Yeah, that rain situation sounds a lot like the spring season in Frisco. It rained so hard before that national championship game.
I know.
100 times worse. Like this SFA game was I remember watching on TV, and you couldn't see the logos on the field because like the water was couldn't see through the water. It was
somewhere crazy. I've got a picture of it, and it was just nuts. We gave up, man. Like we ran into the Alumni Association tailgate because their tent was sturdier than ours, because the rain was just taking it down. Like it was just such a bad day. I mean, SFA won. It was great. And I remember sitting in the shower at my hotel room for an hour trying to warm up because I was that cold from being in the rain for 3.5 hours.
Rachel going to be there?
No. She is having a weekend with Adrian. The reason why is because I'm bringing my brother with me, bringing Odie.
Cool.
He needs to network with the Alumni Association, and also the only room I could get was so at Fredonia. Fredonia is very nice.
Yeah.
But there's certain rooms that we really like because they're, and this isn't one of those rooms where she's like, yeah, I don't want to deal with it. So she's like, you have that weekend, and she's like, I'll stay with Adrian, and then she's like, just don't do anything dumb.
That's
and
fair.
I was like, you know me. But
well, it'd be a good time if we decide to go live from the tent at halftime.
We could always do that. That'd be fun.
Yeah, it'd be a good time. People might think we're stupid, but that's okay. So be on the lookout for that. Turn your notifications on.
Like and subscribe.
Yeah, like and subscribe. Right down there. Well, hey, Tennessee Tech and North Alabama. They're at Brayley Stadium in Florence, getting another home game for the Lions. I think this is where they break through. I really do. Tennessee Tech just played Lindenwood and snuck out a win over them, who was a good. I think they're a pretty good team. They're a decent team. But I think North Alabama breaks through right before the end of the year here. Yeah, I think they get their first win.
I'm not picking against Coach Alexander at all. So go Golden Eagles.
Boo.
Every time I have picked UNA against a
To be
quality
fair-
opponent,
To be fair, they've lost every game, so it's every time any of us have picked.
well, when I have seriously said I think this is the game UNA will like break through, it's always been close and they lose it. So I am going against tradition for this season. For me, I am picking Tennessee Tech.
Yeah, this is a little reverse psychology here. I was trying to pick against UNA so they win.
So congrats, North Alabama. You're getting your first
Hey.
D1 win this week.
Well, now that you mentioned it, it's probably not going to happen.
Yeah, you're probably right. Abilene Christian and Sam Houston in a game that won't count in the standings for the old Toyota Corollas, but it will. They'll hang their hat on a win against Sam Houston if they were to knock them off.
All right, yeah. So this game's in Huntsville, which means there'll be 3,000 people there because it is the first weekend of deer season. So, give me Abilene Christian. I don't think they're going to stumble here. I think they'll go through. They'll play well. Give them that dub.
Yeah, I agree. I think Abilene has Abilene ever beaten Sam Houston?
I don't
think so. Don't think so.
All right, then Abilene
maybe back in history, but like not recently.
Not at the D1 level.
Yeah, not since they jumped up. I don't think.
Yeah. Okay. So Abilene will get its first win over Sam Houston, just as Sam Houston is leaving the FCS.
Yep.
I'm gonna make it unanimous, which means it's not gonna happen. But
way to jinx it, Will.
I know. I'm gonna roll with the Wildcats
Houston,
too. And here's the deal: which it's not gonna matter if they get to 8-3, they'll get the auto bid. But if Abilene wins out, even if by some stretch of the imagination they didn't get the AQ, I think they make it as an at-large.
If they go 8-3, they would. I mean, even if they go 7-4, I think they would, because that loss to Sam's not going to hurt them. So they really have a potential shot of being a AQ or a bubble.
Non-con losses or wins would be Lamar, Prairie View, Western New Mexico. I think you got to go 8-3. But if you go 8-3, you get the AQ. So
yeah, I mean, if you look at their losses though, like they have lost to SFA, that's non-con. They have
lost to Mizzou.
They have the loss to Mizzou, that doesn't count, and they have the loss to the Fighting Postal Service by 3. So that's not hurting them in the scheme of things either.
It's fair.
I think even at 7-4, they get in.
Mm-hmm.
Well, man, what a turnaround for Abilene this year. Congrats to those guys. Get it done this week.
Yeah,
I would love to see you beat Sam Houston.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, win this week and lose next week.
Yeah, that's right. Southern Utah hosting Lincoln. The Lincoln Logs. I don't know. Southern Utah.
Yeah, sorry. Sorry for the fighting presidents of Lincoln. It's not going to happen. Southern Utah. Southern Utah's going to win like 77-0.
How bad did y'all beat Lincoln last year?
I don't remember. I want to say it was like 69-0, something like that.
Nice.
We didn't put up 98 on them like we did like we did this year. So like we did Warner, but I think we beat them pretty clean. It might have been 82-0. It was somewhere. It was between 69 and 82, and they didn't score. I don't think.
I gotcha.
I remember I didn't go because I wouldn't waste my time on a game like that.
Brandon, make your pick, buddy.
Thunderbirdies.
Thunderbirdies. I'm sure they love being called that. Just makes their mascot so intimidating. All right, Tarleton and Utah Tech. Man,
this is a good game.
Yeah, it's in St. George, Utah Tech.
Yep, give me the Trailblazers 3 in a row.
Yeah, I think Utah Tech has found its momentum. I'm going Trailblazers.
Utah Tech found their stride. Tarleton has kind of hit a skid. So yeah, give me the Trailblazers. All right. It is GOTW time.
Oh, wait a minute. Do I still have? Hold on. Oh no, I had the video. What did I do with it?
What video are you talking about?
Hang on. Oh, crap. I don't have it anymore. Wait, let me look one other place. Hang on. Y'all don't go anywhere. Y'all say that. Talk amongst yourselves.
Oh, what happened?
I went to.
This is the matchup you should be paying attention to. This is the FCS Fans Nation Game of the Week.
That's what I was headed for too. I was headed for it. Man, Matt Frazee's voice just so soothing. I mean, he needs to do one of those videos in that like effect where you like talk and try to get somebody to sleep. I listen to that every night. Matt's gonna think that's weird. He sleeps in that UCA shirt every night though, so it's okay. Game of the week: Eastern Kentucky, Jacksonville State. Had a little dilemma pre-show about whether this should be the game of the week or not. But hey, it's 7-2 Jacksonville State, 6-3 Eastern Kentucky. Why the heck not? So, man, I don't know. Parker McKinney's thrown for almost 2,800 yards. Jacksonville State has shown their ability to run the ball. They've got some athletes. This is gonna. It means not a dang thing in the grand scheme of. Well, I guess it does for the ASUN title. That's the only thing it matters for. But I don't know. What are you guys' thoughts before we make some picks?
Oh, you're gonna let me go first. Okay. So might I add, this is the Marching Southerners reunion. So you're gonna have a ton of alumni coming into town and their families. There is very bad blood between EKU and JSU, especially between the football team and the Marching Southerners, because they don't. I get my blood boils every time I even think about it. So I'm not going to talk about it. I'm going to save it for Cocky Nation. But just know there's bad blood, and it's the Marching Southerners Union, which means it's always a big crowd for that game. And that's a huge plus for JSU. They have beat us the past 3 years. Did we beat them in 2020? I think we did. No, we did not play them in 2020. So the past 2 times we have played them, they have beat us. So I'm going to pick JSU this year.
So here's the thing. When you look at this
game, was so dramatic.
And you look at this matchup, there's one thing that screams out why this team is going to win. And it's the fact that it is the Marching Southerners reunion, and they're going to have a very boisterous, a very vociferous crowd on hand. And so as much as I don't want to pick against Eastern Kentucky, I don't think they can beat Jacksonville State in Jacksonville on Marching Southerners reunion weekend. So
even though the last time they did play them in Jacksonville, they did beat them.
So I have to go with my gut here and pick those pesky cocks that play in Alabama.
Really? Your gut feeling?
My gut is telling me
even though your gut feeling is telling you to pick EKU?
So we're going to take Jacksonville State in this one. It was tough, but that's who I have to go with this week.
The fact that he just
That is so
repeated
dramatic.
everything he said. I didn't know what you were about to do until you started saying, oh, so fun fact, this is the Marching Southerners. That was good. Y'all can't pick against Jacksonville State, but I can't pick against Parker McKinney. Man, he's a dude. If it wasn't for the Dr. Lindsey Scott Jr., he'd be a legitimate Peyton Award contender. He'll be a finalist either way, but I think he would be a contender if the doctor had moved on. Can't pick against him. Eastern showed their ability to play good defense yesterday. So I'm going to roll with Eastern Kentucky. I mean, this is a toss-up to me too. I think this is going to be a game where you're going to see the Vegas line be like anywhere from 2 to 4 points.
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to be big either way.
No.
It might even be a pick 'em.
I think it's going to be a pick 'em. The real benefit of the out is this is that, EKU's coming off. I don't want to say it's an emotional win, but what a win against UCA, right? They went out and just completely shellacked them.
To be fair, they didn't have any like stressful situations in that game whatsoever.
No, but you know how it is. Sometimes you're riding high, you're feeling confident, you're feeling good.
Sure.
You've eaten your own cheese, and then you get a team that's got more scholars than you that's just coming off a bye week.
That's true.
And they've been able to prep. They were able to watch what you did against UCA. They were able to watch that game. And now they're able to scheme against Parker McKinney. And as much as I don't like Rich Rod's a very smart coach. And so I think that's what really causes me to lean towards JSU. Not messing with Brandon and repeating everything he said, but really that. I just think with the bye week and with what it is, I think it's this JSU's game to win.
I don't think you can complain about a pick either way. Both teams won 4 of their last 5, so this will be
probably one of the best games of the weeks we've had, honestly.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Yeah.
And you can get tickets as low as $11. Man, I wish we were sponsored by Vivid Seats. I wish we were sponsored by Vivid Seats. We're not.
Well, wait, $11 on Vivid Seats. How much do they sell for normally? Because Vivid Seats has a markup.
15.
So Vivid Seats is selling at a loss then.
Ruh-roh. Maybe Marching Southerners reunion day doesn't mean. I'm just kidding. Don't get mad.
Blow, Southerners, blow.
But man, how cool would that have been if we had just like jumped into an ad from Vivid Seats? Like, you can get tickets as low as $11. Man, I can't do it because they'll get me in trouble. But I'm gonna send this to their CFO. See what who does advertising? Marketing. You didn't hit the mute button. You hit it twice. It muted.
I know. Sorry, fellow listeners. And to answer your question, you would reach out to the Vivid Seats marketing team and the marketing department and say, "Hey, have I got an advertising opportunity for you? My name is William Seiler, and not only am so, you threw me off for a second. I was like, wait, really?" No. My name is William Seiler, and I am not only am I about to be a doctor, but I am also the host of one of the favorite podcasts of South Dakota State University, whom you happen to do seat sales for at the stadium. What an advertising opportunity do I have for you? That's all you have to do, and you can do it. But instead, you're gonna have the Revs sneezing all over it.
They're gonna watch it and be like, "What the heck did you want us to put this?"
My allergies have been so bad today. I've taken God knows how much allergy stuff. Amazed I'm even coherent for this.
That's funny. Well, hey, it was a fun episode. Got to just kind of get on here and crack up a little bit. It's the end of the year, so these podcasts are getting a little. They're gonna get like this. They're gonna be fun. A little less informational, a little more banter, I guess.
Next week is gonna get nutty because we're gonna go live, and we will stream out on YouTube, on Facebook, on Twitter. You can jump on. You can ask any question you want or drop any comment you want. You can talk trash about us if you want to. Some of us might talk back to you. You never know what happens. We do have someone who might want to come on, though, and join us for going live.
Who's that?
What, next week?
Yes.
Who's that?
He would be one of the hosts of the B Team podcast.
Is it Brendan?
It would be Brendan, and not only would it be Brendan, it would be Brendan's birthday, if I'm not mistaken, on the date. So that would make it even more amusing.
Man, can't wait.
So,
Well, whoa,
the heck?
What is this?
it's background music. Man, we gotta stop. This is like the Oscars music. They're trying to tell us to get the heck out of here. Man, we appreciate you listening. If you're still here, I don't know why, but we appreciate it. Make sure you hit the subscribe button below.
Little Mighty Ducks. Mighty Ducks right there.
Shout out to those guys. Hit that subscribe button. Rev's pointing to it as always. Man, this is fun. We're glad we get to do this. Thanks to the FCS Fans Nation guys. Make sure you go watch all the podcasts on that show or on that network. There's some good ones, and may not be as funny as ours, but I don't know. The B team might be.
B team is the funniest one.
Yeah, it might be. But we appreciate it, gentlemen. Appreciate you guys being here. As always, we'll be back next week. Actually, we'll probably be back at halftime of the UCA SFA game.
I apologize now for how I might be during that broadcast.
Brandon, you're gonna have to run that thing, man.
Yeah,
I can't run it from a phone.
Hey, all of us will be at a game.
We'll all be at a game, so we'll have to figure that out. We'll have to somehow get StreamYard on one of our phones.
The Podfather can get on and run it.
Matt, if you're listening, help!
That's fine.
Yeah, and I'm not gonna hop on until after Southerners is done. So
what time is y'all's kickoff?
1.
See, our kickoff's at 4. You'll be done.
Oh, okay. We'll be done before then. Yeah.
Halftime
The game will probably be completely done.
Yeah, halftime at 5:30. So
yeah, I'll hop on.
Yeah, see, you can get back in time to your apartment and get it set up and ready to go. We're counting on you, Brandon.
All right, get those notifications on. Hit the subscribe button. That way you won't miss it this weekend. We're going to have a good time. Gentlemen, Thanks for being here. Thanks, everybody, for watching. And we will see you next week for what is the final regular season week of the year. Good night.